Welcome to a new daily top AskReddit video. Today's topic.
You are paired with 100 random humans. If you are better than all of them at something, you win $1 billion. What are you doing? Making me orgasm. Even if I'm wrong, it'll be a great time. Can turn off the comments now. We found the best answer. Yup. It's kinda disappointing when the game's over that quickly. Like watching a Mike Tyson fight back in the day, I imagine. Guessing numbers that I think of. No. You guessed 420.69. Checkmate. So close, it was 69.420. Running a freight train over my particular section of track. There are 11 people currently qualified to do so, and a handful of retired, quit guys who could possibly do it. Maybe 30 people tops in the entire world who know the track well enough to run over it. Way to use, running a train, in a way I never expected, the way it was intended. If it's 100 random people from anywhere in the world, speaking my native language. Having been on the internet long enough, I can safely say I could beat 100 random people from around the world in a spelling bee. I think it's called a spelling bee. It makes more sense to be a state of being rather than an insect. The past tense is a spelling was. I think I would likely be able to better all 100 random humans in talking about British pre-decimal penny varieties, 1860 to 1967. I would then take that $1 billion and spend a fair portion of it on British pre-decimal penny varieties, 1860 to 1967. If you hadn't guessed by now, I quite like British pre-decimal pennies, specifically the various varieties within the 1860 to 1967 date range. Edit, well, this blew up. Numismatists of Reddit unite. Also, British pre-decimal penny varieties, 1860 to 1967 for all those who double dared me. Come find me, bitches. I've got socks full of British pre-decimal pennies between 1860 and 1967 swinging ready for you. 2 farthings equals 1 halfpenny. 2 halfpennies equals 1 penny. 3 pennies equals a threepenny bit. 2 threepences equals a sixpence. 2 sixpences equals 1 shilling, or bob. 2 bob equals a florin. 1 florin and 1 sixpence equals half a crown. 4 half crowns equals 10 bob note. 2 10 bob notes equals 1 pound, or 240 pennies. 1 pound and 1 shilling equals 1 guinea. The British resisted decimalised currency for a long time because they thought it was too complicated. Good omens. Is this what imperial measurement feels like to the rest of the world? I think I had a stroke reading that. I'm laughing so hard at this. I really hope you sockhead 99 gets all of the British pre-decimal pennies, and specifically the varieties from 1860 to 1967, that their heart desires. Find someone who looks at you like this guy looks at British pre-decimal penny varieties between 1860 to 1967. Competitive eating. I didn't realize how good I was at it until I won a burrito eating competition by a landslide and checked the weight against some of the world's top performers. Unless Matt Stoney and Joey Chestnut get selected randomly at the same time, I'm buying boats and hoes. I'd do it just for the burrito. There was like a 6-year kid in the competition and it was funny watching him. Pretty sure he was happy to get free burritos and didn't care about the competition. Lol. Pissing off my wife. I also choose pissing off this guy's wife. Okay, but in which direction are we pissing when we're standing on her? Strategic contract drafting. We're all coming out of this with 10 mil each. Good thing you didn't pick math. Lol, you sure about that? Edit, fuck. You're not wrong. LMAO. Pikmin 2 Battle Mode. Pikmin is already a niche enough game, and even Pikmin fanatics have hardly touched the competitive split-screen mode in the second game. Pikmin 2 Battle was so much fun. I could probably name several video games I'm too good at, and out of 100 random humans, those odds will be pretty good. This, 100 random people out of a pool of the entire population of Earth, is such a minuscule minority. It doesn't even have to be an obscure game. Chances are maybe one person has even heard of, played it. I would choose to speedrun Far Cry 4. I haven't played this game since it came out 10 years ago, and even then the chances that any of the 100 knows the alternate ending, 15 minutes until credits roll, is extremely unlikely. Reciting pi decimals. For some reason I learnt 350 of them in middle school. You probably managed to beat 100 random people pretty often with anything over about 12 digits, so I reckon you'd be very safe with 350. You'd have to be very unlucky to draw someone with more than 350. Chess. As a somewhat better than average club player, my chances are pretty good against 100 randomly selected people. It'd be hilarious if you sat down in your first match and you paired an opponent named Magnus Carlsen. Weaving. I'm a professionally trained production weaver with 20+ years of experience. The number of people these days who know how to operate a floor loom are pretty low. Folding a fitted sheet. Booyah. Is squishing it into a big ball not a correct way to do it? Close. The crucial step is roughly flattening the surface of that fabric wad, then neatly folding the top sheet slightly larger, so that when viewed from above or the front the flat sheet hides your sins. This is a pretty good one. I absolutely can't do this. Every time I need to put a new one on, I either deal with a wrinkled one or just put it on the dryer for 10 minutes before putting it on my bed. Same here. I can't count the number of YouTube videos I've watched of bikini-clad women demonstrating proper fitted sheet folding technique. Somehow, I just can never get it. Maybe I'm just defective. Sleep. I have 2 kids, 2 yo and 4 yo. I've slept on a chair. Having dinner with the family of my wife. I just closed my eyes and fell asleep. I am sleeping now. The Air Force developed a technique for falling asleep in 2 minutes, anywhere, including sitting upright, on command. They did this so pilots could be ready to deploy on at least X hours of sleep after only X hours of notice before the mission, regardless of circumstance. You're just throwing out that fact and not explaining what the method is. Sitting in a black empty room with nothing but my own thoughts. I could easily sit in a black room too with nothing but your thoughts. Camera sways to showing you curled up crying in a corner lol. Imagine it's cursive lol. Milking cows. I could milk you under the table. Don't you mean under the table? No way. 45 years of experience. I've got nipples, could you milk me? Milk you for all you're worth. Taking care of my wife, she has MS and I take care of her. There is no one that's ever human that can care for my wife like me. She's been my world for 30 years and I prioritize her above all else. You win for sweetest spouse in this thread. Dropping things out of a plane at a target. 100 people, I might end up with a few people that can fly a plane, but I highly doubt any of them could beat me in a drop competition. Only reason I haven't defended my national title is sickness. What altitude are the drops done at? The last competition in my neck of the woods was right when I got my PPL, and I sure as hell wasn't going to do that with sub 100 hours. 300 feet for single-person drops, 200 feet for a 2-person crew doing simulated life raft drops. I actually did my first competition as a student pilot. We have an air judge on board who is a flight instructor, so it means even student pilots can compete. I pick either A, identifying My Little Ponies from the 1980s, or B, knowing the real names of professional wrestlers from the 1990s. I have diverse interests, okay. Brutus Beefcake wasn't his birth name. Question mark. I don't remember that pony. Remembering my passwords. Bullshit. Tell me your passwords, and I'll bet I can remember them better than you can. Hunter 2. Completing Sonic 3 in Knuckles as fast as possible while collecting all of the Chaos Emeralds and Super Emeralds, as Sonic or Tails. I currently hold both of those world records. That's sick. Edit, watched your speedrun, that was so cool. Don't know what NG+ means but seems you're the best. Thanks. NG+ means that I'm starting on a cleared file, with all the emeralds already collected. My other categories involve collecting all of them in that run. Does being absolutely mundane count? If it does, you've got competition. Violin. I'm not good, but I have been playing for 14 years and the chances of somebody who satisfies both requirements of playing violin and not being a beginner out of 100 random people is pretty low. Bro, if you get any Asians or upper middle class nerds, you're so screwed. They all play violin. Identifying random animals and or knowing random animal facts. I used to be a huge animal nerd. Still am, but I used to be, too. Also, I can make beautiful flowers from cardstock. Mitch, is that you? Exclamation mark. Thank you for recognizing the joke lol. I used to do drugs. I still do. But I used to, too. Quote. Speed puzzling. I compete and I assume not many people do Tears of Joy. You better hope I'm not in your group. Bring it on. I didn't even know this was a thing, now I want to find a local chapter. Bird calls. I can do about 30, nearly flawlessly. Making ground beef. I make about 4,500 pounds of it a week. I read eating, not making. I was very concerned for a minute. Forgot about farmers and thought you were just some alchemist wizard who conjures up a lot of beef. Teaching a university maths class in Swedish. It's about 12% chance that someone else in the group is Swedish, and right now I study maths at university level, and even though I'm just a student I think I could give a better lesson than the average person, because most people don't study maths at university level. Teaching a university maths class in Swedish. It's about 12% chance that someone else in the group is Swedish, and right now Please walk me through that 12% chance. In English, do powers of 10 work differently in Swedish? The probability that a person is Swedish is 0.132%. The probability that they aren't is 99.868%. The probability that two people aren't is 0.99868 asterisk 0.99868. The probability that 99 people aren't is 0.99868 caret 99, which is about 87.7%. So, the probability that any of the people are Swedish is 12.3%. That's assuming that the number of people living in Sweden is the same as the number of people speaking Swedish. I just divided the populations of Sweden and the world. Playing FIFA. I'm well within the top 0.1% of the world. In fact, out of millions of players, I'm within the top 500 on the leaderboards. So the odds of any of them being within that top 500 too is very slim, so I fancy my chances of winning. I would also choose a video game, Rocket League to be exact. I'm not in the top ranks, but I'm certain I could body those 100 people. That's why I think your best video game is a good choice. As the people are random, many of them wouldn't have even played Rocket League before, never mind actually being good at it. Only a very small percentage of those 100 people will have played, and be good at the game. You just need to be confident you're good enough to beat the few people who also play it and are good.